You must have seen the renowned Parthenon in Athens, where world leaders often seek to be photographed. This ancient structure once housed the statue of Athena, the goddess of power and wisdom, over 2,500 years ago. Nestled downhill between the Parthenon and the statue of Athena lay a bustling city. On a nearby hill lived a sculptor, from where the Parthenon and the goddess Athena were clearly visible. His son, standing at this vantage point, often pondered how a mere statue could protect the city. His mind was filled with unanswerable questions. These queries eventually led him to the cup of poison. This was Socrates, the esteemed martyr of truth. I will narrate the story of this remarkable intellect. As a child, Socrates observed his father skillfully chiseling stone into the likeness of a lion. He was fascinated by the emergence of beautiful forms from mere stone. Inquisitively, he once asked his father about the selection of tools for carving and the technique to achieve specific shapes. His father, preoccupied with work, brushed off the question, promising to explain when Socrates was older. However, Socrates, impatient for knowledge, pressed for an immediate answer. His father explained that one must envision the lion trapped within the stone, eager to be freed. The clearer the vision of the lion, the more adept one becomes at choosing the right tools and techniques to release it. This response deeply impressed Socrates. Socrates' mother, a midwife, and his father, a sculptor, both influenced his philosophical development. His mother, when asked about her work, simply stated she aided in childbirth. From his parents' answers, Socrates gleaned that the essence of things lay hidden, only to be revealed through effort and understanding. Additionally, his mother's stories about gods and goddesses sparked further curiosity. Socrates questioned their behaviors, wondering why beings of such elevated status exhibited human-like emotions such as hatred, jealousy, and anger, and why they punished people. These reflections, however, led to more questions than answers. Due to his unconventional appearance, Socrates was often ignored or ridiculed by his peers. This treatment led him to contemplate the nature of beauty and ugliness. He sought answers from a potter, inquiring about the beauty of his pots. The potter's simple explanation that a beautiful pot is well-crafted and flawless further fueled Socrates' understanding. He realized that just as statues emerged from stone and pots from clay, answers too would emerge from layers of darkness. As he grew, it became apparent that Socrates was not suited for sculpting, not due to a lack of effort, but because his interests lay elsewhere. He was more drawn to understanding people and engaging with customers than in the family trade. During this period, Athens was celebrated for its early form of democracy, distinct from modern practices. This environment of inquiry and discussion further shaped Socrates' philosophical pursuits. In this early Athenian democracy, only males had the right to vote on crucial matters, including decisions related to the courts. The people of Athens held their democratic system in high esteem, considering themselves pioneers of this form of governance. Ships from across the globe docked at the Athenian coasts, and foreigners marveled at the splendid marble statues, often mistaking their creators for magicians and learning new concepts from them. However, Socrates pursued a different path. He constantly questioned others, delving into the truth behind every answer, regardless of how competent the respondent was. His method of lengthy cross-examination and debates often left others perplexed. Some even engaged with him deliberately to provoke a series of probing questions. While people enjoyed Socrates' company, they saw him more as an entertainer than a serious thinker. Despite this, his popularity in Athens grew. The tales of gods and goddesses played a significant role in Athenian life, and questioning these deities was generally met with conventional stories and widespread disapproval. Greek mythology placed most gods in the sky, with figures like Apollo as the sun god, Jupiter as the principal god of the heavens, and Selene as the moon goddess. This status quo was challenged when Anaxagoras, a thinker who had spent years studying the heavens, made a startling claim in the presence of Socrates and the prominent politician Pericles. Anaxagoras asserted that the celestial bodies were mere rocks, with the moon reflecting light from the sun, possibly even harboring human life. These revolutionary ideas, posited 2,500 years ago without the aid of modern scientific instruments, shocked Athens. Anaxagoras faced severe backlash for his beliefs, and when Socrates was asked about his views on these celestial bodies, he responded with characteristic caution. He neither outright denied nor supported Anaxagoras' claims, stating he had not yet reached a conclusion. This non-committal stance displeased the temple custodian and others who expected him to reject Anaxagoras' views outright, accusing Socrates of also being against the gods. This incident marked the beginning of opposition to Socrates in Athens. Meanwhile, Anaxagoras was tried for apostasy, narrowly escaping death, but was banished from the city. His influence, however, had a lasting impact on Socrates, who realized that mere wonder and questioning were not enough to uncover truth. Engaging with experienced intellectuals was essential. Socrates then embarked on a journey of deeper exploration. He was mindful of Athens' tendency to undervalue great intellect, recalling Anaxagoras' words about his purpose being exploration, not fame or comfort. This transformed Socrates, elevating his status not just in Athens but across Greece as he became recognized as a philosopher. People honored his presence, inviting him into their homes, and foreigners sought him out. Yet, mindful of Anaxagoras' fate, Socrates was cautious in expressing his views openly, often sharing his thoughts in more subtle ways. His disciples, including Plato and Crito, regarded him as the most intelligent man in the world. Meanwhile, in another Greek city, Delphi, stood a temple with a statue of Apollo, beneath which a devout woman would answer questions posed to the god. The widespread belief in ancient Athens was that the pronouncements made by the devotee in the temple of Apollo were directly from the god himself. This conviction led Chaerephon, a devoted disciple of Socrates, to inquire at the temple if there was anyone in Athens wiser than Socrates. The response he received was unequivocal. "No one is wiser than Socrates." Overjoyed, Chaerephon hurried back to Athens to proclaim that even the god Apollo had recognized Socrates' unparalleled wisdom. This revelation divided Athenian society. Some accepted Apollo's declaration about Socrates, while others mocked it, suggesting that Chaerephon might have bribed the temple's devotee for a favorable response. Socrates himself was the most astonished by Apollo's statement. He humbly considered himself ignorant and believed the god's endorsement was due to his awareness of his own lack of knowledge. This divine endorsement further heightened Socrates' appeal, especially among the youth. One of these young followers was Alcibiades, a charismatic and wealthy naval commander known for his bravery and striking features. Alcibiades admired yet envied Socrates' popularity and sought his approval. Despite becoming Socrates' pupil, he was disappointed that Socrates was unimpressed by his wealth and charm, which only drew Alcibiades closer to the philosopher. A significant turning point came with a disastrous military expedition led by Alcibiades to Sicily. The failure was so severe that Athens' fleet was decimated, and many soldiers were either killed or captured. Alcibiades, fearing reprisal, defected to the Spartans, Athens' rivals. His betrayal and association with Socrates led to a backlash against the philosopher. People began to connect Socrates with Alcibiades' treachery, partly because of the influential plays in the central theater of Athens that mocked and vilified Socrates, portraying him as a god denier who corrupted the youth with debate. Meanwhile, Athens faced a significant military defeat in the Peloponnesian War against Sparta, where Alcibiades fought on the winning side. This defeat, compounded by the existing displeasure towards Socrates, led many to irrationally blame Socrates' beliefs and teachings for invoking divine wrath and causing Athens' downfall. Socrates' critical stance on Athenian democracy further alienated the powerful class, particularly with his view that not everyone should have the right to vote without understanding the art of governance. In 399 BC, Crito informed Socrates that he was to be tried by the ruling authorities, echoing the fate that had befallen Anaxagoras years earlier. This news must have brought a sense of foreboding to Socrates as he recalled Anaxagoras' ordeal and his own philosophical journey, which now seemed to be leading him to a similar confrontation with the Athenian establishment. Socrates, in preparing for his trial, faced a jury of 500 members. The trial, set to last only one day, offered no chance of appeal or retrial. With 3 hours for the prosecution and an equal amount for his defense, the water clock started ticking. The charges against Socrates were grave. He was accused of corrupting the youth, neglecting the city's need for divine favor, and contributing to Athens' defeat by the Spartans. When his turn came, Socrates chose an unexpected approach. Instead of a conventional defense, he addressed the public, challenging the jury and society's hypocrisy. He vehemently denied the charges, asserting his commitment to truth over life preservation, and critiqued Athens' social and political systems rather than offering a direct defense. The jury's verdict was split, but a majority of 280 found him guilty, making him eligible for the death penalty. When asked to choose his death method, Socrates humorously suggested a government-sponsored dinner, symbolically choosing hemlock, a potent poison. Despite suggestions to seek legal avenues for reducing his sentence to exile, Socrates stood firm in his principles, declaring he would not compromise truth for safety. His commitment to truth, even in the face of death, was unwavering. In the final days of his life, Socrates' disciple Crito proposed an escape plan, but Socrates refused, emphasizing the importance of living rightly over merely living and respecting the law, even if it meant facing death. On his last day, Socrates was visited by Crito and his students. In a moment of profound calm and dignity, he asked for the bowl of hemlock. Addressing his friends and family, he urged them to remain composed and patient. Socrates, with a steady hand, consumed the poison, walked briefly, and then laid down as the effects took hold, gradually losing sensation from his toes upward. In his final moments, covered by a sheet, he made a mundane request to Crito to repay a debt for a cock. Crito agreed, but when he asked if there was anything else, there was no response. Socrates had peacefully passed away, leaving behind a legacy of philosophical inquiry, courage in the face of adversity, and an unwavering commitment to truth.